Good morning, everyone. I have found a technique on YouTube, and I do not know who the woman was that was showing it, but it was in one of the sewing things, the sewing category. How to do embroidery on your quilt with just a simple zigzag stitch. You don't have to have fancy stitching. You don't have to have anything except a sewing machine that will do a zigzag. And it's awesome. I put this, you can use a zigzag stitch to do this. Now I've got a mistake here that I've got to correct. And I'm thinking about this one right here too. But this is what you can do with a simple zigzag stitch. And that's my baby quilt. And I still don't have it done because I've got a lot more stitching to do on it in the embroidery part. But I wanted to show you, I wanted to come on and show you how this was done. It was so cool. And it was really simple. The smaller the letters, I'm sure it will get more difficult. But right now, I have just drawn a simple A on this piece of material here. And I am going to take my sewing machine here that I have my gray thread in, which I'm using. I may run out of bobbin. I'll warn you now, I may run out of bobbin. But we're going to go down. I'm going to turn you down to the sewing machine so that you can see it here. Let me get you fixed so you're right into the stitching. Okay, I hope you can see that all right. Well, let's see if I can center you up a little bit better. Okay, that looks pretty good. Maybe come back a little. Okay, you can see my line on it here that I've drawn. And I'm going to start in this smallest section. My thread back there. The smallest section. Well, thread, come on, move. Right here at this curl. And I'm going to put my pressure foot down, and I'm just using a regular foot. I haven't changed any of that. I'm using the regular settings on my machine, other than I am using, my stitches are at 1 on the zigzag, which is the smallest stitch, and 3 on the stitch length. Now as I go, I will change those, and which gives you the wideness and, and the compactness of your stitches. So here we go. We're going to try this out. I hope you all can see it okay. At the very tip of my curl, and I'm going to start sewing, and I'm going to hold back on my machine just a little bit so those stitches are nice and tight. Now I've done that for a few stitches. I'm going to go up to a 2. And I'm going to start curling. And do this very slowly around the curl. Not hard enough that you break your thread, but very close in. And you may have to go back and fill in just a little bit. That does happen. I'm going to go right around that curl. And you don't have to do the curls. You can do a straight stitch. You can do, you can draw these however you want to. Okay, now I've done a 2 around the tip of the curl. I'm going to go to a size 3 stitch now on my zigzag. Oops, I let it get ahead of me a little bit there. right up the side of that A, letting the material move slowly. And I've slightly sped up my stitching on this straight stitch. And I'm almost to the top of it. I probably can't see because of my hands. So now when I get up here to the top, I'm going to stop and I'm going to pivot. And here's what we've done so far. Now, on this, I'm going to start with my 3. I'm going to come down a little bit. Now I'm going to get a little larger. I'm going to go to a 4. On the downside, you want to be a little bit larger. Gives you a little bit more wideness in your stitch. Now I'm going to a 5. And I'm going to come all the way down here to about here. And then make my 4. And then go into my 3, my 2. And come off the end at a 1. So here we go. Okay, now back to a 4 for a few seconds, then to a 3, now go to a 2, and now we're going to go to a 1. And we're going to come right off the end of it there. Now, I'm going to cut this off, let you see it, but we're going to put it back under it and we're going to go back over it. Okay, there's our letter forming. Now I'm going to start over here and I'm going to go back over this and kind of fill in some of the places where it's a little thin. And I'm going to start with my 1. And I'm going to come right up here. And now I'm going to go a little bit larger. I'm going to go up to a 3 because I've got a little spot there that didn't fill in. And I want it to fill in. So I'm going to fill in that gap. Come around the edge. And now I'm going to go to the 4. And I'm going to move my material around a little bit. And I'm going to come right up the side of this with the zigzag stitch again. And we're going to fill in the gaps because it's, you know, you have to kind of hold this material back. And of course your pressure foot wants to move it through. So, and I'm going to go to a 5. Back to a 4. To a 3. And up here to the top. Give that a few stitches and then down. Okay. I'm going to use a 3 all the way down this side. I'm not going to change it. I'm going to get farther down. I'm a little crooked right there, so I'm going to come in beside that and kind of fill that out a little. I'm going to drop to a 2. Come right around that curve. Spin around it. Clip that little end off right there. And again, right here, I'm a little off, so I'm going to go right slightly to the outside of that because I'm off a little bit right there. Then go to a 1 and come right on around it. Do a little back stitch right there. Then we're going to come across the center of it. And on this, I'm going to use a wide stitch. I'm going to start out with a 5, and I'm going to stay with the 5. Till I get right into the stitching there. I'm going to stop. I'm going to turn it, lift my needle up, and I'm going to slightly adjust so that's right in the center, right there. And we're going to go right back across that. And I'm going to back stitch a little. Okay, I'm going to turn this around here, and there's our A. And that was all done on the machine. Very simply, take your time, and you can do this. It's not as pretty as hand embroidering. I'm not saying it is, but it's a quick alternative to it. I have arthritis in my hands. I cannot hand embroidery much anymore. So this is perfect for me. And yeah, you may get a little flaw in it, but anywhere you have a little flaw, like this little indentation right here, you can take your machine and go right in close to that and add a few more stitches, and it will finish that up. So that's what I've been doing on my quilt. And I've got a ways to go yet, because all of this bottom part down below here in this is all embroidered. So I've got a few more things to do there, and then this top will be ready to put together, and we can send it home to Asher, because